So Don, you've been CEO since 2002, and so I'm interested. What do you think makes a great CEO, and how do you keep your confidence up? How do you keep your motivation up? And how do you lead?
Well, look, let me give you an analogy that you might like. I remember, as I told you, I am a big Yankee fan. Derek Jeter blew me away. Derek Jeter blew me away because somehow that guy grew up as a 19-year-old in New York City on the biggest stage in the world, and somehow stayed out of trouble for 20 years. How did he do it? And when they asked him how he did it, he gave the greatest answer. He said, because I was afraid that I'd get fired if I didn't. And it was such an honest, simple way to sit back and say, because there was an element of fear to make sure I was doing my best. I can tell you, as a 56-year-old man, that element of fear lives in me. That notion that because we'll fail if I don't keep going. If the team that we built over that period of time isn't motivated, I will tell you, I'm very proud that in our company, the average length of stay at Federal Realty in our senior team is 15 years. We've been together a long time. The only way you get great people to stay for that amount of time together is if they have autonomy, is if they are able to run their businesses. If you were to talk to Don Briggs, who runs development for Federal Realty, including Pike & Rose, including Assembly Row, he would tell you this is his team, his project. I want him feeling like that. If you were to talk to Jeff Berkes, who is the president of our West Coast operations, both of those guys have been with us a long time. Jeff Berkes would tell you, this is my coast. This is my company. And so to get the right people, you've got to have that ability to let go, but also wrap it with a common set of goals, set of objectives, and set of cultural style. I do think that I'm very clear, and I've always been very clear, in terms of the style that I wanted. I can tell you the one thing about New York is there's a directness that comes out of New York that was not here when I got to Federal Realty. And I'll never forget coming down and saying, boy, I'm so sick of New York. I can't wait to come to a nicer type of community and here in Bethesda, Maryland. And I came down, and what I really found was that it wasn't a nicer community, that people were nicer, to your face, but that direct confrontation wasn't here. We've changed that at our company. And over the last 15, 17 years, we are very direct. We're not afraid of confrontation. We like productive arguments. My mom, I remember growing up, and maybe this analogy will put it all, make it all sound right. My dad was British, and my mom was Italian. And I can remember as a 10-year-old going into a banquet hall for a wedding, a family wedding. And on the left side was my mom's side of the family, and on the right side was my dad's side of the family. And you looked at my dad's side of the family, and you just listened from up above in this banquet hall, and it was very subdued in terms of the quietness of the way people were talking. The colors you saw were black and white, and that was the way that was. And you looked to the other side of the room, it was the Italian side of the family, and there was stuff flying throughout the air. It was red and gold, and people's the octave of the voice was 2 octaves higher than the other side. And I just gravitated to that side. That type of kind of openness and ability to argue and desire to productively argue, I think is a real positive thing. And I think it's done a lot of good for Federal Realty over the years. Not always, but overall, I think it's a good thing.